Ice Cube is not merely a symbol. We will always remember the spirit of Friday or Straight Outta Compton, and his voice shaped American culture. He began his career in one of the worst neighborhoods in America and, with perseverance, integrity, and an unquenchable passion, made music, film, and literature history. His narrative touched a lot of people, but most people were broken by the bittersweet nature of each victory. At 56, many people want to know what storms still haunt him and what weight underlies the fortitude that has supported him for so many years. Before there were cameras, stages, or crammed stadiums, his story begins when he was simply a young boy named O'Shea Jackson growing up in south-central Los Angeles. On June 15, 1969, Ice Cube was born in Westmont. The neighborhood seemed tense, and the sun never seemed to brighten things up. Streetlights illuminated cracked pavements, and families grew accustomed to the uncanny quiet that descended upon their houses each night. His father, Hosea Jackson, put in a lot of overtime at UCLA tending to the fields. With the weary footsteps of a guy with a lot of work to do, he made his way home. To protect her children from the outside world, his mother, Doris, worked full shifts at a hospital. They made the most of every dollar to create security in a world that appeared unstable outside their front door, despite the fact that money was never plentiful. Talking at their dinner table was difficult due to the sound of silverware tapping on plates and the steady ticking of an ancient clock on the wall. Sajak and White had such a close bond that they were dubbed the longest-running hosting duo in television history. When the show became syndicated primetime programming in 1983, its style took a significant leap forward. Wheel of Fortune became a huge smash during prime time after that change from a popular show during the day. Unlike many shows that lose their charm over time, Wheel expanded with its viewership without altering its format. By 1988, it was the most watched syndicated show in the United States, surpassing all other game shows on television. After dinner, families gathered around the wheel, which was first merely a prop but eventually came to represent American television. The competitors prepared for an event in the same manner as athletes. Local news hosts discussed it. It was not merely a performance. It was a ritual. It worked so well because it was familiar, not because it was difficult. Everyone could see how it operated. There were no fast curves or difficult-to-understand rules. Only good fortune, letters, and the excitement of solving a mystery first. Then, changes in technology began. When the puzzle board was computerized in 1997, the show's visuals underwent a significant transformation. The tiles were spun by touch-sensitive computers rather than by hand. Longtime admirers were concerned that the magic of Vanna physically flipping letters would be diminished by the transition, but the magic was preserved by her fluid shifts and distinctive hand motions. The update updated the show without sacrificing its simplicity. Then came more advancements. The program celebrated 25 years in syndication in 2008, a significant milestone that few television programs ever accomplish. Instead than weighing him down, those memories serve as a reminder of the source of his power. When asked what motivates him, he consistently responds with the same response: duty. He had to look after himself, his family, the audience, and his craft. Obligation to speak the truth, regardless of how circumstances alter. Being accountable in a lie-based business. His narrative resonates with people of all ages because he was honest. Younger admirers like his strength. His consistency appeals to older admirers. His path, including the victories, the setbacks, and the quiet moments when he made the decision to get back up, is relatable to those who understand how difficult life can be. As he proceeds, Cube is committed to creating space for fresh viewpoints to be heard. He supports initiatives in underserved communities, provides funding for emerging artists, and mentors the next generation of storytellers. He has experienced what Dr. When he was 16, Dre began to trust him. He is aware of the significance of a single opportunity. He thereby makes such opportunities available to others. His influence can no longer be adequately captured by a single media. It includes job, family, music, sports, and movies. It's a lifetime of decisions, some good, some awful, but always honest, rather than a single achievement. Perhaps being honest is the main theme of his story. It's not always easy to be honest in public, but Ice Cube has always been. Other people were scared to say what he stated. While some would have remained silent, he departed. He created his own lane after the company refused to let him use theirs. From the beginning, he remained loyal to himself despite losing loved ones, being famous, experiencing stress, and growing older. He experienced some difficult periods in his life. I was devastated by several of them. However, he learned something from each chapter and applied it to new endeavors. He now stands as a man who has experienced both great and minor storms, moments of grandeur and uncertainty, but he continues to ascend with purpose. His home remains his heart, even after all these years. She still walks with him because she recognized the man behind the celebrity. Their marriage survived the pressures of caring for everyone else, the turmoil of Hollywood, and the loneliness of lengthy distances apart. Despite everyone else's attempts to keep them apart, they have chosen each other over the years, and their connection is now stronger than ever. They now follow a simple, everyday, and priceless routine. Movie nights. Meals for the family. Walks in the evening. The sound of children racing around the halls and lots of laughter during the holidays. He believed he would never have that kind of life. Ice Cube realizes that he has worked hard for all of the serenity he now enjoys when the day is over and he is by himself thinking. They worked hard to get there, not by chance. Not by taking shortcuts, but by working hard. By being courageous, not by being at ease. The most crucial lesson to take away from his tale is that strength does not equate to never falling. You must decide to pick yourself back up when anything tries to bring you down. It has to do with continuing to go forward despite changes in your surroundings. The people who give your life meaning should be the ones you watch out for. Even though Ice Cube originated from a difficult neighborhood, his life demonstrates that a man may make a significant impact on the world. Evidence that suffering can make life worthwhile. Evidence that even in environments where lying is prevalent, people can be truthful. Evidence that a man's family comes first and can save him in ways that money could never. Don't let this tale conclude without reminding you that no matter where your journey begins or the challenge. Outside, the night was punctuated by noises that warned of impending danger. Ice Cube shared a world with his older brother, Clyde. They belonged to a creative family that included artists like Cam and Del the Funky Homo Sapien. However, the roots were insufficient to shield him from the impending danger. The incident that influenced his life occurred when he was just 12 years old. Beverly, his sister, passed away unexpectedly in her late teens. When she passed away, the family felt as though they were disintegrating. When his mother heard the news, Ice Cube recalled the sound of her knees giving out. She appeared to be trying to conceal an unpleasant fact by covering her face with her hands. His father simply stood and gazed at the ground, searching for a firm object to grasp onto. On the day of Beverly's funeral, Cube silently watched the automobile drive away while standing on the sidewalk with his hands in his pockets. No youngster should be exposed to that type of silence. It infiltrated and remained in his life. Years later, he said that losing Beverly had altered his morning vision. It taught him that he could be killed without cause and at any time. The weeks that followed were difficult. Sadness seemed to have taken up residence at the kitchen table and settled into their house. Not even the slightest hint of laughter seemed to be audible. For hours on end, his mother gazed out a window. His father quieted down. As though he didn't want to evoke a memory he wasn't prepared to confront, Ice Cube moved carefully through the house. Before his time, he grew elderly. With the consciousness of someone who understood the world had nothing to offer, he strolled through South Central. Cracked pavement, sweltering summers, and chilly nights made every street a reminder that safety was not guaranteed. At school, he was burdened by his grief. He felt as though he was in another universe, even when he heard other children laughing. However, suffering frequently brings out the best in people. Almost by accident, at the age of 14, he discovered that writing was the only thing that allowed him to breathe. He was told to write some lines by a buddy, and as soon as he did, something inside of him opened up. He was surprised by how forceful and honest the words were. His ribs appeared to have been there for many years. He wrote late into the night at a little desk that was dimly illuminated. Writing was a means of survival as much as a means of self-expression. His songs reflected all that was on his thoughts, including his memories, his anxieties, the rhythm of his neighborhood, and the anguish of losing a loved one. It was his suffering, not a teacher, that taught him to write. He was able to write with a steady voice. Every morning, he rode the bus from South Central to Woodland Hills and looked out the window at the city. With its spotless floors, serene talks, and children who weren't constantly worried, Taft High School felt like another planet. He was depressed and juggling two unconnected universes, which made it difficult for him to go through the hallways. In search of safety by 1987, he enrolled in the Phoenix Institute of Technology to study architectural drawing. He was excellent at what he did, stayed focused, and complied with the regulations. However, even the straight lines of plans could not mend the fissures in his heart. After a year, he left after realizing that no strategy could make his life better. He did it because he needed something sturdy to support the weight he was carrying, not in protest. He became even more passionate about singing after returning to Los Angeles. He received a C, with Sir Jinx, his cousin. I performed on turntables at outdoor events hosted by Dr. Dre. Unlike the oppressive quiet that awaited at home, those nights were vibrant and boisterous. Dr. Dre was struck by Cube's clear delivery and the force of his statements. At the age of 16, Cube sold Boys in the Hood to Eazy-E. It was a significant event that altered his life. For the first time, he was perceived as strong by someone from outside his neighborhood. Despite the fact that fame was still a long way ahead, Cube sensed the world shift. But the path ahead was not a simple one. Rap was disliked by many, and residents from his area of Los Angeles were perceived as stereotyped. Before hearing a single word, several individuals made quick judgments about him. However, rejection didn't seem as horrible once Beverly passed away. As he wrote, it became more precise, darker, and deeper. Everything about South Central influenced his voice, including the hum of the lights, distant sirens, and the recollection of peaceful family dinners. He was unable to stop rising after hearing that sound. Everything went quite smoothly. As soon as he joined N.W.A. was the group's most potent pen. He wasn't your average rapper. The release of Straight Outta Compton in 1988 shook the nation to its core. His remarks made me think rather than chuckle. The contracts that brought about the accomplishment, however, paint a more somber picture. Despite producing barely $32,000, Cube sold a lot of copies of the record. He was given lousy bargains despite his dependability. He departed in 1989. It's not a map. Not a guarantee. Just the truth. His solo albums demonstrated why he had always been so significant. The Predator, Death Certificate, and American Kaka's Most Wanted are all courageous, significant, and true films. He was transforming American discourse at the age of 23. However, greatness comes with a cost. He became exhausted from long classes, sleep deprivation, and ongoing stress. It was painful to watch up-and-coming acts gain popularity, and the business moved swiftly. Knowing that someone else will eventually take center stage is what it takes to be a pioneer. Hollywood became the next front in the conflict. Director John Singleton noticed something genuine about him. He became an unavoidable celebrity thanks to Boys and the Hood. However, admittance was not certain. When he entered venues without performers, people saw only a rapper. He learned to make films by doing things one step at a time, much like he learned to stay alive. Then Friday arrived. He starred in it and penned it. An independent film that gained cultural significance. Through Cube Vision, he produced Barbershop, Are We There Yet?, 21, Jump Street, and other programs. The stakes increased as things improved. Late into the night, meetings continued. Budgets were like impending explosions of bombs. The pressure increased as he ascended. In 2017, he started the Big Three Basketball League, his riskiest venture to yet. Despite the lack of belief, he persisted. He built stadiums, fought litigation, negotiated contracts, and managed a league for a long period without any revenue. Despite spending evenings staring at figures and wondering if the risk would destroy him, he persisted. He had discovered that in the absence of a door, one must construct one. However, in recent years, storms have gradually returned. He declined a $9 million role in the 2021 film Oh Hell No and left the film because he refused to get vaccinated. He made his decision and didn't argue or preach. Losing money was painful, but the realization that Hollywood had moved on without him was far more painful. To pass the time, not as a penalty. He witnessed the replacement of his former roles by newer celebrities. When his name wasn't the first to be spoken, he could sense the shift. He made a joke about how Hollywood shifts like the weather, but it carried a lot of weight. For the first time, the world was not there for him when he opened the door. Nevertheless, he handled this season in the same composed, steady, and uninterrupted manner as he handled every storm. Saying, "Your time has passed," at 56 is a loud whisper. However, Cube never allowed anyone to choose the timing of events. He departed from naysayers predicted that WA would fail. When he accomplished something, he was questioned. Some believed he couldn't have started Big Three at the time he did. Every time, he decided to get up. Certain wounds don't bleed, instead, they remain inside of you and alter your breathing. However, Cube was well aware that strength is inconspicuous. Nothing changes. The thing that wounded him the most in his career was losing Eazy-E, a sibling he was never able to reconcile with, not pressure, treachery, or job losses. When they first started, they had inexpensive microphones and papers. They were strengthened by fame, forced to battle by money, and silenced by pride. Then everything changed when the hospital called. Eazy-E's AIDS-related issues were causing him to die. Although Cube arrived, he became chilly outside the entrance. He had no idea what to say. Hours later, Eazy was gone, taking the final opportunity to make things right with him. Alone with a burden of grief that would never leave him, Cube wept. Even now, when he walks, he still feels that person's absence. It serves as a reminder to him to make amends now while it's still possible. But he was able to weather every storm because of his family. The woman who had previously passed him, Kimberly Woodruff, ended up becoming his love interest. They were young and going through a difficult period when they were married in 1992. They would count their food money at night. Each of the 5 children that followed took a different route. However, fame brought long absences. Kimberly had dinner alone. Birthdays weren't celebrated. The balloons were dropping, Cube's family was asleep, and his son still held a wrapped gift when he returned home from skipping his son's party one evening. That silent moment shattered something inside of him. He was aware that despite having everything, he was losing what mattered most. He gradually altered. He arrived. Yes, exactly. He remained. O'Shea Jr., Daryl, Karima, Deja, and Sharif, their children, unintentionally reunited their parents. When Cube's kid portrayed him in Straight Outta Compton in 2015, Cube witnessed his own life on screen. Seeing his past through his child's eyes healed him in unexpected ways. Although their house isn't flawless, it is cozy and genuine, and it is filled with memories of love, forgiveness, arguments, and laughter that helped them get through the most difficult times. Cube claims that rather than fame, his family taught him how to love. Ice Cube, who is 56 years old, is a living example of perseverance, hard work, and responsibility. His estimated net worth is $160 million. His long-term residence in Encino, his Marina del Rey home, and his garage filled with pricey, vintage cars don't seem like indicators of excess to him. They demonstrate to Cube how far he has come since the days of flickering lights and cracked sidewalks. But rather than the houses he constructed or the money he earned from movies, what people will remember him for are the doors he built. He made his fantasies come true. That continues to grow in the Big Three League. He supports up-and-coming artists and creates opportunities for those in need in the projects he discreetly supports. The house is quiet. In the morning, sunlight streams in through large windows. In the kitchen, Kathy reads. Cube looks for news from Big Three. Sometimes there are a lot of children, grandchildren, and cousins in the house. On other days, they're the only ones on their acreage at sunset, walking about and being thankful for the life they established together. He still does things, works, and pushes forward. He is a husband, father, and grandfather when he comes home, though. Now, that portion meant more to him than any attention ever could. Hollywood has changed around him throughout time, but the man in the middle hasn't been rocked. If anything, it has made him better. It's evident to him now that he knows storms will always happen, but he knows how to handle them. His narrative shows us that every life has ups and downs, and that the best people are frequently the ones that keep getting stronger when everyone else thinks they'll fail. Ice Cube's story stays with you because it's so human, it's full of love, grief, strength, pain, and starting over. A caution that what makes you powerful is not how loud you yell, but how softly you keep going. If this tale resonated with you in any way, please stay in contact, share your ideas, and help preserve the spirit of these stories. May you have a peaceful home, good health, bright days, and a heart full of all the wonderful things it can hope for. The story of Ice Cube doesn't end with successes or headlines. Most people are unaware of it because it occurs during the quiet periods. The moment when everyone has gone. There are times when he is alone with the truth of everything he has experienced when the lights go out. These are the locations where true legacies are created, away from celebrity and commotion. In recent years, Cube has been more forthcoming about his priorities. Not awards. Not sales. Not style. He spent the majority of his life fighting for peace, which is the most important thing. Living in an environment where danger was constant taught him the value of peace. His top priority shifted to making it for his family. He often reflects on the father he witnessed returning home each day, exhausted from his job but resolute in his commitment to morality. That provided Cube with a better model than any music instructor could have. His mother instilled discipline in him as a child. She raised her kids with a calm strength that helped him raise his own. Although their love was quiet, it endured for a very long time. He discovered that real strength isn't abrupt, but steady. He can now see the generations he helped rise as he sits with his kids and grandkids. He can see the impact of sacrifices made many years ago. It took him late nights in the studio, long tours, and several acting roles, but they all paid off in the end so that his kids won't have to start from scratch. He did more than develop a business. He constructed a basis for his family tree that was sturdy enough for the next branches. Even as a grandfather, you can hear the softer aspects of his songs. He hears more. He travels more slowly. It's not the other way around, the younger ones drag him into their world. When you observe a man whose words are known for being violent, tie a shoelace or let a toddler get onto his lap, it helps you feel grounded. It demonstrates how a life moved from being hard to ending up with something soft and won. Cube's professional goal has shifted, but it hasn't gone away. The Big Three keeps becoming bigger every year, bringing in fans from all over the world and garnering respect in the sports world.